Welcome to JB Trio Podcast, Season 1, Episode 4. I'm Lee McDonald Jr.
Christopher Woodmansey.
Mark Merchant.
And joining us this week is Kyle Howell. He is on Mark's team on Rednecks and the Yank. So he's going to be joining us this week. Kyle, why don't you tell us a little bit about your history of the league?
I've been there since the late 90s. Oh, just over 20 years. Back when Dorothy was league secretary, and she would call and, "Are you coming back?" and leave that on the answer machine at the house.
I remember those days.
I know I started with my uncle. Been on teams with Neil Brady and Mark Merchant, Mike Insline.
That's right. You brought in Mike. Mike now on Team Triple X, and they're fighting for a top spot right now. He's jumped up. We've all seen him progress from starting bowling league for the first time, and now he's averaging almost 150 now.
Kyle, what was your average when you first started bowling this league?
Upper 170s.
So you've actually gone up, unlike Chris, whose average has gone down.
It's like a roller coaster.
But this isn't my highest average. I've gone down. So like Chris said, it's a roller coaster. I think my highest average to end up the league was a 191. I went in tournaments with 191 average. Well, my uncle and I bowled a summer, and we were league champions. Yes, I have the pins here somewhere.
Well, you better have a league championship bowling 20 plus years.
Yeah, he's about to have another one this year.
We won the first half.
Chris, you guys going to face him for the championship? You're going to win the second half?
I mean, if we rig it, yeah.
I got to say, though, Kyle is second on our most individual points for men's, about a 64% winning percentage.
Yeah, you got that leadoff bowler on your team, Mark. He's holding you guys up a little bit.
Yeah, he's winning the points.
It's going to be a crazy couple weeks. Going into position round, which is next Tuesday, it's a really tight race for the top three. And one of the teams that is post bowling happens to be in first. We don't know exactly what the lineup's going to look like come this Tuesday. The only thing we know for sure is, unfortunately, all four of us gentlemen on this podcast, all of our teams are in the bottom. We make up 7th, 8th, and 9th place, and we've only got 9 teams in the league. Our positions are set. We definitely know where we're bowling next Tuesday.
I think there was a major prediction made last week on this podcast by one of our members here. 36 points they guaranteed they were going to take.
Who said that?
No, I think they gave away 36.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant to say.
Mark gave you the suggestion. He said, have Camilla batterize at David Sr. and they'll all falter.
Any prediction this week, Chris? Because it's probably going to be one of your toughest weeks.
I mean, a vacancy, I'm going to say 48.
48.
Yeah,
We're going to do something Mark's team can't do.
Maybe if you just have Camilla bowl by herself, if she's over her average for 3 games, that takes care of both you and Brian. That's how you can pull a 48.
One of the rules in our league, if a bowler doesn't show up and they happen to be bowling a blind, if the team wins their point, then they get that individual blind member's point.
Mike Ensline wasn't there this week, was he?
Yeah, he was out of town.
So anyways, my recommendation to you, Chris, is you guys warm up, the other 2 sit out.
Okay, I'll talk to Brian about that.
Yeah.
You guys are bowling Chris's team next week after position round. Is that the same advice you're giving Chris?
No, that's going to be a live podcast show.
Yes, I agree. The last few times Mark's called in Neil, it's going to be a huge grudge match.
How about this? If I beat Mark has to wear a wig.
No, wait a minute. You're talking about just as an individual or your whole team?
Whole team.
The whole team.
All right, I'll wear one of Camilla's.
Oh, nice. There's 2 sides to that. If Mark's team wins, what are you going to wear?
I'll shave my head.
Whoa. Okay, you guys heard it here first.
Yes, we did.
If Mark's team wins, Chris is going to shave his head completely bald.
I mean, I didn't say completely bald. I just said I'll shave my head.
Now he's backtracking. All right, well.
It sounds to me like he's losing confidence.
Happening.
Kyle, they got you on their team. You're a mystery ball. Like when you're on, Kyle, you are deadly.
Let's see, I missed my average to 1 game this past week, and I didn't miss it by much.
See?
I think he's basically saying that you're holding up Mark. Mark's been slacking.
Look at,
no, Mark, he had it there.
I started off with a 158 game this week, held steady at 200 average. Trying to do is get myself wiped out of all the brackets, and then I started.
Then you could bowl. Then you could bowl. Exactly.
Yeah. No, I got to say, I felt like the shot this week was really good. There were some high scores, and we bowled 26 weeks in this league. I felt like last week was the best shot I've seen out there. I don't know what it is. It was
a good shot.
Yeah, it really was a good shot. Ball was moving in really nice. And although one lane was a slightly hooking more, could have scored really well.
31-32 is always like that. Looking at the scores that were entered today, we had Chance, who we'll talk about later, who made Bowler of the Week. Chance, this is your moment. I know you're going to listen to the podcast later. So we all praise you. You bowled great this week.
I'm proud of him. I mean, he is a great bowler, and I'm happy to say this. I believe it's true, and I think he believes it. I was his very inspiration to bowl and to player of the week for him because he lost to me.
I was bowling against him, and I specifically heard him say, as long as I beat Chris.
And he wasn't even bowling. We were so far away from each other, but he thought about me. He thought about every shot he threw. He said, this is for Chris.
You were on his mind. You are an inspiration to a lot of bowlers. As a matter of fact, Kyle and Mark can attest to this. Our very own Jerry Boudreau had come up and said she is not very comfortable with her team name and that she wants her team name, and her team agreed to this unanimously, that she wants her team name to be Chris is an Ass.
I love their name, though. It's a very unique name. Where can you what league can you go and find a team named Bust Your Nut?
You know, if I had to guess who came up with that name out of Jerry and Greg and Ricky, of course. Ricky, we love Ricky. Yeah. I would have to say Ricky came up with that name.
Exactly. I wonder where he got the inspiration from. I mean, I think someone in his mind told him that, and they just went with it. I mean, Jerry, she's a captain, so she's the nutcracker. so she busts them all the nuts.
She bowls a lot better when Ricky isn't there.
Oh my God, she really does. I was gonna say that.
You could just tell she threw a lot of strikes.
Is she happier when she's not there? Is she like
I guess
happier?
She doesn't have to worry about him.
Was he working that night?
Yeah, working. But
Kyle, did you hear that he works at Hooters?
Yeah, we're trying to get him to get us some new cards.
Oh yeah,
cards for what?
Playing cards.
Hooter cards.
Oh, like the real life ones? Like he takes pictures of each one individually and put them on a card?
Oh my goodness.
This is for my cards.
Exactly.
And who wants to be the queen? I do.
You know, to get back to Chance, he did pull a Woodsman's, didn't he, this week?
Chance did have the front nine coming into the 10th. We even got it on video. He unfortunately left a 4-pin.
He wanted it too badly. That's what happened. He wanted it too badly. He wanted to shove it in my face.
He said that he had bowled a 300 4 years ago.
Yeah, he did. That's a true statement.
Yeah, I remember I bowled mine against somebody. I wonder who that was.
I think it was Mark, right?
No, it wasn't Mark.
No.
I bowled good against Mark, but
with me, he just never leaves 10 pins.
I was happy last week, or this past Tuesday. I only left one 10-pin, and I picked it up.
How is it, Lee, that you can have a series of 660 and your average stays at 190 every single week?
I don't know. It must be that.
I think we got to have somebody audit this.
I think it's that secretary magic number.
Yeah. What was your first game, Lee? I just want to know. Can you say that?
My first game? Oh, I shot my best first game, 256.
Yeah. And what's your average?
Is it 190 now?
190.
Okay.
Oh, I can never read.
Yeah, but did that make sense to you?
No, not really. But neither does my bowling. Now, this is coming from the guy that we have a witness this week, an anonymous source, come up and saying that they specifically saw somebody on 29 and 30 foul almost 90% of the time.
Who said that?
That wasn't
wants
me.
To remain anonymous.
It wasn't me.
Does he have proof?
He said does he have proof? To remain anonymous.
Does he have proof of this incident, this occurrence?
The only thing I can say is that he was a he.
Oh, it was a he. Okay, so there's a lot of guys in this league. So it wasn't Jerry Camilla.
And I got to say, I'm against that statement. I wouldn't say 90%, maybe 85% of the time.
He didn't do it that bad this week. He threw more second balls. He doesn't do it on the second ball.
Oh, wow.
What did you shoot,
Kyle.
What did you shoot?
I shot a 621. I beat Andrew. Me and Andrew took half. We took 2-2. He beat me the first game, and then the second game, I beat him by 1 pin. And then the third game came down to the 10th frame. I struck it out. He left the bucket.
You put too much pressure on him. He got scared.
Came back, though. And Andrew's a good bowler. So me taking half with him is pretty good. I'm happy with that.
Well, you're pretty intimidating. He got scared.
I play my size, my Amazonian size, my masculinity. I think my femininity. So I have a feminine side with me. So
You know, and looking at it next week, position round, you're on your favorite pair, 31 and 32.
Oh,
if they're not broken down. Mark, weren't you on my favorite pair last week?
Yeah, it was a nice pair. It was work. It was
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Lee, you should make it you should make it where I go against Mark on lane 31, 32. It's like a home field advantage.
If I could rig that, I would rig it in some way.
Yeah.
Mark happens to be bowling my team this week. I don't know how that happened, but Mark, you and I are going heads up against each other, and
Yeah. We
I'm
are.
prepared not to leave another 10 pin. I must have rigged it in some way where I'm no longer anchored. I said, I want to bowl Mark heads up. So when our teams bowl each other, it's me against him.
That means I'm against Leland.
Yep.
I've got to say, the last few times we bowled you, you swept me.
Well, I guess
Yeah.
I'm old one, huh?
That's because he didn't leave a 10 pin.
So you know what? Maybe we should put something on the line.
Yeah, we ought to do that. Maybe $20 on the line, and then when I take another 20 off you for being bowler of the week,
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
that'd be nice.
that would be.
Let's
something.
make it more realistic here.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he had a new shoulder.
I did. That helped.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
titanium shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I've got it worn in and
It's
not
breaking in.
yeah,
It's not working.
broken and gone now.
So going on to the next subject, week that we just had, week number 26, on 23 and 4. My team, unfortunately, only took 14 against Larry Keel and Colleen and Chance. They bowled really good. Took 34 from us. Chance, again, we'll talk about later on, made bowler of the week. Shot 754. Larry shot 647. And me and Peyton both had I had a 660, he had a 646 series. I think our team's scores, if you put them against any other team in the league, we probably would have beat them. But unfortunately, we bowled the one team that beat us. So we only took 14 against them. The next pair, 25 and 6, it was Triple X against the blind team. Triple X ended up winning 46. They made up for that week that they had before against Four Family where they lost all 48. They bowled the blind team and win 46 out of 48. I think they're in fourth place now. 27 to 28, that was one of the pairs that had post bowl. Team 4, I'd hit that. They're bowling against Team 10. Once they post bowl, we'll enter their scores and we'll see who won. On lanes 29 and 30, we had Four Family bowl up against Team ICP. Four Family, who is as we've said, the hottest team in the league. They took 36 from Chris's team, Team ICP. 31-32 with Mark's team, Mark and Kyle. They actually won 36 from Bust Your Nuts team, now named Chris is an Ass. And they even had George sub in for Ricky that week, who was out working. Mark bowled pretty decent. Ron held him up that week with a 656, and Kyle bowled pretty good, bowled above his average. They ended up winning 36.
And like you said, it's really who you bowl when you bowl them. If we're up against you guys, we would have lost every game.
It does set us up for a very interesting position around this week. And the first place team is not bowled yet. They're going to post bowl Monday. So the top 3 teams are right now up in the air. We don't know who's going to be in third, second, or first until they post bowl.
Chris, your team could really make a run for it, bowling the vacancy team next week. And then our team.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we choked against the vacant team. We did have a winning week, but we did split.
All right, guys, I got breaking news. Chance just texted me, said he had the front 8 again tonight for the last game. Shot nearly 700, but he left the damn 4-pin again. So, Chance, we know you're on the chair, buddy. If you're listening, you got to keep it up on Tuesday. Your team's making a move.
Good job, Chance.
He must be thinking of you again, Chris.
Yeah, he probably felt so bad he lost to me. He's like, I'm better than this. I'm like, I have to man up. That's what he's doing right now. He's manning up right now.
There's times, though, when you're in a zone, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you just like for 2-3 weeks straight, you can hit them. You're just locked into a zone.
I remember we did that, and Kyle, he had probably a good 3 to 4 week run, and we had to rename our King of the Hill pot to Kyle of the Hill.
That doesn't happen too often.
But he also lost like $60 that week because he paid the mechanic every week.
He used the pull stick to knock down those 10 pins.
So are we really going to count that?
I know there was a time when I was with Mark and Neil, 5 weeks with no opens.
Wow.
So
But the bumpers were up there.
So Kyle, when you bowling for the fun of it to keep up with Ron? 'Cause I know Mark is nothing to show about, but when you bowl, what's your main purpose? Like, are you trying to win, or are you just having fun?
A little of both. One of my main purposes is not to be embarrassed by their scores.
Because Mark is so low, right? You're trying that you're trying not to, but you're as a team, right? You're trying to not feel embarrassed as a team because you're embarrassed of your teammates. Is that what you're saying?
I know my purpose of bowling is seeing how many beers I could pound down in 3 games. I think I'm at close to 12 now.
Damn.
What's Ron up to?
Is that why, Mark, you're slacking lately?
Yeah, that's why the first game was 158. Then when the alcohol kicked in, I was around 230 the last.
So you're saying at people your age should start drinking more?
Have a little bit more fun. You can't take it that serious.
He only takes it serious when he bowls you, Chris.
Yeah, now that's
No, when he bowls me, he's not here. He had Neil.
That reminds me, I got to give him a call.
Yeah. It's like, hey, next 2 weeks from now, you're bowling.
Yes.
You got to make 2 calls, Mark. You got to call Neil, and then you got to call the person in charge of the fuse box.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about the happenings before bowling.
So this week, there was a little bit of an incident that happened from the early shift league leaving a little bit later than usual. One of our bowlers made a comment wondering when they were going to start to leave. The early shift bowler got a little bit upset at overhearing the comment, decided to say a few choice words to one of our bowlers, and it was right before everybody started bowling for our league. There were some words exchanged. Our own Christian had tried to diffuse it. I tried to diffuse it. I tried to keep it civil. In the end, it was settled down. I'm sure that once it's all said and done, maybe next week we'll all give handshakes and hugs.
And where was that sergeant of arms?
Sergeant at Arms for our league was surprised that there was actually a table ready.
And by the way, our Sergeant of Arms is Mr. Kyle Howell. He's been Sergeant of Arms last couple of years, same as Chris has been president of our league. Kyle did not know what was happening, but I'm sure if it was, there would have been no incident whatsoever. The guy would have been scared off and went running for the hill.
Yeah, here comes one of the rednecks.
But that's all that happened. If they make a tip about it next week, I'm sure we'll just clear the misunderstanding.
And,
Nothing crazy happened.
And I know you want to touch base on most improved men. Christian Gomez, 20 pins over his average.
Yeah, Christian's protege. Chris brought Christian in the league. Christian went from being 100 average to about 160 average. Christian started in the summer, and he's carried over to the fall, and he's found a secure team on Triple X.
It's very much improving. We still practice on a weekly basis, at least 1 day, 2 days a week, when we can. I have given him some balls that I knew that will benefit his skill level, and he always throws those balls, and he loves them, and it works really well for him on the dry lanes. But yeah, other than that, he's keeping his forearm out, which is great. He's not twisting it too early, pushing it out. He's following through. Follow through is a main point of bowling, to follow through. But he's doing everything correctly, and he's so proud. I mean, he's so proud. He almost broke 600 last week. He was mad that he didn't, but sooner or later he's going to be player of the week, and probably his first time hitting 700.
Now, as we've said on previous podcasts, if anybody breaks any records, and if anybody bowls bowler of the week or bowls over their average, it is always against our favorite team, Mark.
Yeah, everybody does. Against me, too. So I'm looking for you this week, Lee, to shoot about a 7-something, right?
I haven't shot a 700 this season yet, so maybe.
Well, it's probably
We're not bowling bad. They're just bowling better. We're giving them pins, and they're beating a scratch.
Wow.
definitely.
We can't keep up.
So you're saying that Mark is laying the team down, and you should just go ahead and just drop them, cut them loose from your team? That's what you're saying here?
You
I
can't
hear
do
what you're
anything
saying.
about that except for cheer the team that's bowling against you, because you don't want to see them not bowl a 300.
Yeah, even the vacancy did it against us.
Yeah, those guys are brutal, right?
Out of the high average guys, Andrew Pride is now our new high average 210. Ron Reynolds is 209, and he's Mark and Kyle's partner. It just goes to show you how good these teams are bowling against you guys, because you guys got the second highest average guy in the league bowling on your team, and yet you guys are still fighting for your lives and on the bottom.
Yeah, I think we need to move that whole league down the other end of the house again.
Sure, you guys won the first half of the league when we were on the low end.
Yeah.
And then we went to the high end for the second half. It's like every team is just shooting lights out against you guys. You guys bring out the best in everybody.
They picked it up.
I give it about 3 weeks, and I'll be the new highest average. I give it about 3 weeks.
You're a true inspiration, Chris.
I'll be back there with my 221 average.
Yeah, what
So-
was it after 9 games? Can you recall? I think when you started first 9, you were probably in the 220s?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mark, what you're
Mhm.
saying is that if they had least improved bowler, that Chris would be leading?
Well, yeah, I guess if you looked at it that way.
Come on, it's only 30 pins.
So if we had a least improved category, I mean, Chris would be leading that. I mean, you got to be.
I mean, I'm
leading something.
sitting at 204, so I'm coming back up.
Hey, you guys are all averaging over me, so I can't talk.
No, with this league secretary, your average is probably stuck at 181, like his is stuck at 190.
Well, we can make all your guys' average 600. I think we can all arrange that.
That's okay with me. That helps in tournaments.
Yeah, right. It just stays like that. It just stays like that permanently.
So, Kyle, tell us a little bit about the card game. So you've been running this card game for how many years?
6 or 7. Well, we first game is usually $2, and $10 for all 3 games. $2 the first game, $3 second game, and $5 the third game. But we can look at 6 cards, but only hold 5. So that gives everybody a chance to, what am I going to do? I'm going to drop this because I'm going for that. And then somebody else that may not bowl as well, who may only get 5 cards.
Yep.
But you know what? I've seen that person that only got 5 cards win. And each game consists of 2 decks, including jokers, but the jokers only are aces, straights, and flushes.
And we're pretty lenient. You know, we understand there's all kinds of different bowlers getting in the card game. You don't always have to be the highest average. If you have a lower average, the rules are a little bit more lenient.
For a strike, you get 1 card. A spare, you get 1 card. But if you get a double or consecutive strikes, you get to draw 2 cards. And if you pick up a split, you get to draw 2 cards. But like I said, you can only look at 6. If you're going to end up drawing your 7th card, you have to discard 1 before you can draw that 7th card.
And also, those people that are averaging lower than it can get 2 cards on a spare.
Right. We try to make it fair. We don't want to have the lower average always just donating. We want to make sure that it's a fair shot for everybody. That's what makes it so fun to join the card games.
Yeah, maybe, Chris, you can raid one of your kids' piggy bank, maybe get a card game.
Yeah, sure. I only get a $20 allowance.
And we appreciate you doing that, Kyle. Who did you take over the card game from? Didn't somebody else used to do it before you?
Could it have been Ken?
I don't think they did the cards back then. I know they did Mystery Score.
With all those strikes you get, Chris, you'd be getting a handful of cards to look at.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. But it's the luck of the draw, not the luck of the strike.
His wife doesn't let him in the card game.
Yeah.
That's just good shuffling.
No, she blames the card of the pictures on the cards.
So there's no reason for you
She
not to
said it
get it in the
hurts
first
my
2
eyes.
games. There's no reason for you not to get it in the first 2 games. We saved that third deck
That's the special
game
deck.
for the special deck.
Maybe Chris can join because he can claim to be special ed.
Okay.
We already knew that.
The bowler of the week, of course, is Chance Defoe. Shot 754, 133 pins over his average. Honorable mentions to 2 guys. David Pride Jr. shot 665. Christian Gomez, he has shot 102 over his average that week.
That was a 584.
Still, it's good for him though.
And he was very happy. He was mad that he couldn't get 600. He was mad.
Yeah, it's inevitable. Once he's gonna get it. He shot 576, which is
Yeah, there we go.
3 over his average. So good for Christian. He's inevitable to get 600 or even higher, and we're all rooting for him. I know that's Christian's protege, so we're all rooting, especially Chris. And
Very
for
much,
the ladies,
very much.
for the ladies bowler of the week, Colleen Keel against our team. She had bowled 10 pins over her average. Wasn't really a great week for the ladies, but she was one of the few that bowled over her average, 409. But she was one of the few that bowled over her average. So congratulations to Colleen for making bowl of the week. Thank you for all who listened to JB Trio Podcast Season 1, Episode 4. I hope you enjoyed it. Or please like us on our Facebook page.
Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in for episode 4. Please tune in for episode 5, the magic number. If you do not tune in for episode 5, you will leave a 5-pin and miss it.
Just want to thank Kyle for being this week's guest on our podcast.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed being here.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for joining, Kyle. We appreciate you, buddy. Guys, that was awesome.